Got bro in the building. What up, bro?
Man, how's it going? How you
Man,
doing?
what's up? What's up, man? I'm just. Let me turn this down just a little bit.
Yeah, no worries.
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Yeah, dude, can't wait till tomorrow. It's gonna be hopefully a lot of news.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope. So, if you can, just share it around for me one time on your Twitter page, man. And
Yeah.
all that good stuff. All that good stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, just share it.
All right, cool. It's been a long time, man, since we've been up here, man.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean the last I was on with you was a TikTok, but I haven't been on a video stream in like a long time.
Yeah, it was been a while, man. So, man, we got a packed show today, man. We got Swifty coming in, as you can see. We got you, we got CJ, we got Allen, we got Hope, we got Shy, man. So we're just gonna talk a little bit of free agency football, man, and get to it, man. We catch up a little bit, man.
Yeah, of course. What do you
So
think about? I guess we'll get into this later, but what do you think about the whole Max Crosby situation? Are you disappointed or?
You know what, man? When it comes to the Max Crosby situation, bro, I wasn't too disappointed.
Yeah.
I wasn't too disappointed. Just let me know if my mic sounds good. The music's not interfering or nothing in it.
No, it's good. It sounds good.
Okay. I wasn't really upset, man. I was more just based like, whatever works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they wanted to go get him, if they can smoke this draft, I was with it. Like if you can go out there and smoke the draft, you get a guy for agency, and I'm cool with it. You get a guy for 2 years, you know what I mean? And then you let him rail up the other guys. I'm cool with that. Like you cannot smoke this draft. And I've been saying this for the longest time now, that I think this is the most important draft for Ryan Poles' career. This is the one. Like I know we got Caleb, and I know all that stuff is kind of lucky to me, but this one to where you got so many holes on defense, you have no blue chippers on defense. So the fact that we got all these people we gotta pretty much get on our team, I'm like, this is the one, man. This is the one that could pretty much open up our dynasty. Am I off base with that or what?
No, bro, you're 100% on base. I mean, it's a lot tougher to go from, obviously it's hard to go from bad to good, but it's even tougher to go from good to like great and elite. Because like now we don't have the draft picks we had back then. We don't have the top 10 pick. Like you mentioned, we usually we're in range for a blue chip guy, but this time it's, pick number 25. You're not going to get a blue chipper in there. So this is like the really first test that we're going to see from Ryan Poles to see if he can draft, players later on in the draft. And I know he's hit on some second round picks before, like last year he had a couple of really good second round picks. So I'm pretty hopeful that he's going to have a good draft, but it's going to be a lot tougher. Like you mentioned, like it's not as easy as it has been in years prior. And he's going to have to nail this draft too, because we have so many holes on defense right now. We have guys going out in free agency. We already cut Tremaine Edmonds. Jaquan Brisker, according to reports, is probably not going to come back. And you just got holes you got to fix right now, because the Bears are in contention mode, right? Like we're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. So like, kind of like you, like I would have been excited if we got Max Crosby, because that's a game record. That's a game changer for sure. But I think the 2 first-round picks are just a price that Holtz didn't want to pay, especially because we've been drafting so good in the first round as of late. Like last year was a really good first-round pick, Holton Loveland. Before that, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze. Before that, Darnell Wright. So, honestly, Poles has had really good first-round draft picks, but we'll see if we can keep up the momentum with pick number 25. Definitely going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, man, I just think it's going to be a lot harder, man. You really have no room for error, man, because we got guys coming up on that contract. You got a young Caleb Williams that's going to be coming up in a couple of years. You got Colston Loveland that's going to be coming up in a couple of years. You got Luther, man. You got Rome. So it's like you don't want to give up these guys down the road because you couldn't get the defense right. So how important is it to you to make sure that we making sure we're setting up the future and the present at the same time?
Yeah, it's a really tough mix to balance to go after, because obviously you want guys that can contribute right now. It would be nice to get, a guy that would be really good right now, but you also want a guy that could be good for you 3-4 years in the future. So do you take a risk on a project type of guy that could be good for you down the road, or do you try to go after more of a pro ready prospect that can win now? It's a kind of an interesting debate to have, but regardless, the Bears having these draft picks, like they have, I think 4 picks in the top 100 now. They could have 5 if we get the Tom pick from Ian Cunningham being a minority candidate being hired elsewhere. So like there's another pick that could be coming for the Bears, but we just have a lot of top 100 picks this year where Poles has to make good on these picks. Like this is going to be kind of like a franchise defining draft because the Bears are in their contention window. Like if you look at the Seahawks and why they won the Super Bowl, they won the Super Bowl because they had like 3 straight drafts that were really damn good. And like there was good players selected in round 1, round 2, round 3, like all over those draft classes. So, if you want to be the next Seahawks, want to be the next, champions, then you got to draft good every year. Like you can't take a step back from last year. Last year, the Bears had one of the best drafts in the NFL, and they got to continue that again this year because, the Bears don't have a whole lot of salary cap space this year. As we guys, as all you guys know, like we've had to make tough decisions. We, maybe that's the reason why we're not going to go after Trey Hendrickson potentially because we don't have most cap space in the world. So it's just going to be, tougher for sure, but hopefully the Bears can still figure out a way to have a good, draft and free agency.
Yeah, man, because it's so hard to do, man. We lost Drew Dahlman, we left the left tackle, which Ozzie Shapiro. You got 2 holes on your offensive line that got to get fixed. Now, like I know we got the guy from the Patriots, but what are your feelings about him? What are your feelings about the left tackle position? How are you feeling about if you draft the left tackle? What's your ideal situation for this left tackle position this season and for the future?
Yeah, so for right now, I would say Taylor Decker is our best option by far. The Lions released him a few days ago, and he already has experience playing for Ben Johnson. He knows the scheme. He's hopefully not going to be too expensive. I mean, he's still probably going to cost like 13, 14, maybe even 15 million per year. So I could see like a 2-year deal being given to him, which, I would wish that we could get somebody on a 1-year deal, but there's just not anybody that's going to be available that's really good on a 1-year deal while we wait for Ozzie to heal up. So maybe you could give, Taylor Decker a 2-year deal and make most of the money in the first year. So maybe you can cut him after this year if Ozzie is going to be ready for the following year, or, whatever the case is. Like obviously the Bears need a good left tackle option next season, right? Like we can't go into next season with just Theo Benedict being the starting option at left tackle or Kiran Amagaji, because this is like a contention season. Like we're saying, like this is not just a rebuild season. We have to go in there with a solid plan. And I think Taylor Decker is going to be that plan, so we'll also see if Trent Williams get released. I mean, there's a possibility he could be released according to reports. Like that is a possibility, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be released? Because I think the Niners are probably going to come to terms with an agreement, an extension for him because he's just that good of a football player.
I mean, when I first saw the news that he was getting released, I was like, yo, we can get him. You get him for 2 years. He's 37. So you're thinking at the time you got Dahlman, but he's gone now. You got Tooney. Yeah. You got Darnell Wright. You got Jonah Jackson. We potentially looking at the best offensive line in football. If that could happen. He's 37. He still knows the tricks of the trade. You know what I mean? He's a veteran. He's a Super Bowl winner. So it's like you will want that on your team. So the fact that we can be able to ascend Caleb's talent to another level with a guy that's beyond serviceable, that would be ideal. You know what I mean? Like we just need serviceable based off the people we got, whether it's Caleb Williams at quarterback, Ben Johnson at play caller, head coach, the tight ends that can block, they can catch, running back. So it's like, my thoughts on the whole left tackle thing is like, if we can get elite, get elite. But if we can get serviceable, get serviceable. So when he came out the news that he could be gone, I was like, get him. I mean, I want my quarterback protected as the most we can get to protect the quarterback,
Yeah, man. I hope he's released because that would be a player that I'm sure Ryan Poles is going to go all out for. He's really invested in the offensive line a lot the last couple of years, especially last year. Like when Ben Johnson came in here, he made Ryan Poles fix the offensive line in like one offseason. Trading for those 2 guards and then signing Drew Dahlman, which I still can't believe Drew Dahlman retired. Like that is just such a random thing, which it just honestly sucks. I mean, I'm not gonna like hate on Drew Dahlman, obviously, but like it just kind of sucks for the Bears offseason because it kind of threw things a little bit out of whack. Where now we got to fix the center spot. We made that trade for the Patriots center, but he's not really like a great option, right? Like he's an okay option, but we're probably going to draft a center with one of our day 2 picks. And, you know, the offensive line gets destabilized a little bit, but at the same time, you still got Jonah Jackson, you still got Joe Tooney, who are really good. So if you can fill in that left tackle spot, like you mentioned, I think that's going to be the major key to keeping this offensive line good for next season. Because if it's a bum at left tackle, probably not going to be as good of an offensive line. But if it's a, you know, Trent Williams, if it's a Taylor Decker, hopefully we could still be pretty good.
Yeah, because you get a guy like Taylor Decker, you know, that's almost a layup to me. I've been saying it on TikTok. I've been saying it to people, like, if you can get him to come with Ben Johnson, this is a layup. He knows Ben's system. He played with Ben before, you know. So it's like, this is almost too good to be true. I mean, you save the money on your left tackle position. You get a guy that knows Ben. You get a guy that's been in the NFC North. So it's almost too good to be true. So if I'm Ben, and I know they're on the phone right now talking, because how much money will he have to get? At least, what, $10 million a year?
Yeah, I'd say probably 14, 15 million per year. I hope it's not much more than that, because he is a little bit older and coming off a, you know, kind of a bad season. I would not like a bad season, but like not as good of a season as he's had in years prior. So, you know, you would hope that he can come at a little bit of a discount, and hopefully he can, you know, hopefully he wants to play for Ben Johnson, right? Like that he had his greatest success with Ben Johnson. So I think that's one factor we have to talk about today too, where this is the first time in a long time where free agents will actually want to come to Chicago, because we have winning football here. We have a good head coach. We have an offensive minded guy that can relate to, you know, these young offensive players. And we've already established a culture here, right? Like it's not like the Raiders. It's not like some other bad team that does have a lot of cap space, where, yeah, you have that cap space, but you don't have any winning culture yet. The Bears have that winning culture at this point. So we just got to, you know, hopefully fill in the right spots with the right players.
Yeah, man, it's almost like you said, you know, we're becoming a team where people want to come to. The fact that our coach and our quarterback are putting us in position, like if you're Taylor Linderbaum, was it Linderbaum from Baltimore? What's his first name?
Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, Tyler. So it's like, if you're having to pick, now I'm not saying like we can go out there and get him, but if you're Linderbaum, you're like, the head coach position and the quarterback position is the reason why I'm going to go somewhere. You have the potential to be the starting center for the Chicago Bears with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams for the next 6 to 8 years, man, or even longer. So just what's your thoughts on that? Like the fact that we got the type of stability we got at quarterback, head coach, where these guys aren't even going anywhere, Rashad. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. So we're going to be mentioned for top guys to come here. So it's funny what a year can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it feels good. Like it feels so different than the conversations we had last year, where, you know, we were talking about like how are we going to build anything here? Like I think the last time I was on your podcast was before the Ravens game, or it was like sometime in the middle of the season where like
it was the Ravens pregame show.
Yeah, but like at that point we were kind of like still wondering if the Bears were going to be a good team, if Ben Johnson was, you know, that good of a coach. Like we had some question marks back then, but it's crazy how just like fast forward 1 year later and all those questions have been answered, and we are one of the premier destinations for top free agents. But, you know, obviously like according to reports right now, they're saying that the Bears are not going to be maybe making big moves at certain spots. Like if you look at the edge rusher spot, there's a report by I think Albert Breer or whoever it was, where he was saying that the Bears are not expected to make a big splash move at the edge rusher spot. So I kind of wonder if the Bears are going to go after the top names, or if it's going to be more of the, you know, mid-level free agents, and you just kind of hope to develop them and make them fit your system, right? Like honestly, last year some of our best free agents were guys that were coming on cheap deals, like Nashawn Wright, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Like some of those cheap guys, they actually performed really much more better than Dio Odingbo or like some of the big name guys. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's going to be more of the expensive guys, or like kind of a mix? I
mean, I think it's going to be probably more serviceable guys, just because, you know, you always want to see how that first domino, you know what I mean, can fall. Like we went after a guy in the center position that a lot of people really didn't have no idea, but you know, he played in the Super Bowl. You know, he didn't miss any games, 0 sacks, and he didn't cost that much. So if he's good enough to play for the Patriots coming off of the Super Bowl appearance, he's good enough to play for the Chicago Bears. So that let me know right there that they might be trying to go conservative. So I was asking a lot of people, I'm thinking myself, like you know, okay, say you miss out on that squad, so what? Say you miss out on a Trey Henderson, so what? Who are the next guys that's coming up? If you're like, you know what, even when we miss with these guys, they're not that expensive. They might be younger, you know what I'm saying, but they might cost a little bit less. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, if we miss on two guys, the quote unquote top two guys, I think I'm okay with it, because I think we're at a point to where you can get somebody younger, a little bit cheaper, but at the same time, you're still looking to hit on the draft. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm leaning towards that way based off how they move with the center position so far, you know?
Yeah, man, I agree with that. Like, honestly, I kind of like it better when Ryan Poles doesn't spend a whole lot of money, because some of his major acquisitions in free agency have just turned into flops. Like, you know, Dio Dangbo, for example. I think sometimes we're just investing too much money into players that we're kind of projecting on, which is what happened with Dio. I mean, he didn't really have much great production, but it was kind of like a projection type of thing where, you know, our coaches probably thought, oh, we can mold him into being a better player. But, you know, I'd rather only pay top dollar for like a proven guy, which in this year's free agency, there's not a whole lot of proven stars, I would say, with multiple years of great production. At least for the Bears targets, like, I can't think of too many guys where we're going to sign anybody to like a long-term deal. The only guy could be maybe Trey Hendrickson that could fit the Bears at big money. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I kind of want the Bears to try to get somebody like, for example, Nakeem Hicks that we got back in 2015, right? Where he was coming on a somewhat cheaper deal, but we molded him into being a much better player. And, you know, if you can find those budget steals like that, that's going to make your job a lot easier going forward. But obviously it's much harder to do in real life, right? Like, you can talk about it, but it's really hard to find those guys like Nakeem Hicks. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess we'll see.
But that's why the draft is so important, because those guys are so hard. You know what I mean? Teams don't normally let those guys go. And I'm hearing rumors about Jalen Carter's being shopped. Like, Foles, you know what I'm saying? Theoretically has a chance to do something crazy. But man, you know, the people from the chat are pulling up. We got our people pulling up. We got Celeste saying, "Yo, what's up, sis?" We got Craig saying, yo, what up, my guys? You got Soulback Sports Cameron saying, what's up? We talk a little ball, man. So we got Craig right here. Did a great comment. He said, hear me out. If we don't find a decent left tackle, I am not sold on Decker. He was atrocious last year. Let's be honest. Tooney played amazing, and he kept Verse in check. And the guy that filled in for Tooney did very well also. It is not ideal, but it could work until Ozzie gets back. Just what's your thoughts on that, Rashad?
Yeah, regarding Taylor Decker, I mean, I agree he wasn't great or elite, but I still think he was average, right? Like, he had some bad moments, but for the Chicago Bears, like, he presents a solid floor at left tackle. He's not going to be great. He's not going to be elite most likely, but if he can at least be average for the Bears, like playing next to Joe Tooney, playing in a very good offensive scheme, I think he could still be pretty good. So, you know, I wouldn't totally discard the idea of Taylor Decker, but I do agree, like, with the coaching we have, like, we've gotten lesser players to play a lot better. Like, the guy that replaced Joe Tooney, Luke Newman is his name. Like, he was a 6th round pick last year. Like, he played pretty good. I totally agree with that. Like, that's what good coaching does on the offensive line. So theoretically, there is a world in which maybe the Bears just draft a left tackle, or, you know, maybe go after a guy that they already have on the roster to replace, you know, the Ozzie Trapilo. But we don't really have anybody on the roster right now, right? Like, we have Kiran Amagaji, who I think he's a bust at this point. Like, I don't really have a lot of hope in him because he's barely played for the Bears. Every time he's on the field, he kind of sucks. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But, like, if you ask me, I would still hope that we get Taylor Decker, because at least you know what he's going to be. But with a drafted guy, with a young guy, you don't really know what that's going to be.
Yeah, man, you just don't know what it's going to be, and everybody wants the position to be filled, man, because you got a young center. You know what I mean? I don't know if you really want a young center come in here playing as a rookie or a young guy. You know, we're trending in a direction to where we need to be solidified, man. We're a playoff team. We won the division last year. Caleb needs to keep ascending. We don't need to have any steps back. You know what I'm saying? We need to make as many forward steps as we can possibly make. So, can you do it with a rookie? Yeah, but at the same time, it's like we got to keep the momentum going. So a guy like Taylor Decker, even though he was not that great last season, you got a guy like Dan Rochard who was looking like he could put anybody in there and get him to be serviceable, and get him to work. Look what he did with a Luke Newman. You know, look what he's doing with a Ozzie Trapilo. Look what he's doing with a Theo Benedict. So it's like at least you know the talent is there. You know, Decker probably not as good, but mix that with Darren Rochard, his development and his schemes and everything like that, along with the guys on the offensive line, I think he would probably have a good season, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to coaching, honestly. I mean, even when the Bears had some highly drafted offensive linemen in the past, some of them weren't good players because we had bad coaching. So I agree with the coaching, point of all that, but there's also the play caller too. Like Ben Johnson puts his offensive linemen in favorable positions. Like, we're running the ball well usually. So if you run the ball well, it's easier on the offensive line. If you're putting your offensive line in positions where it's not obvious passing downs, that makes it easier for them, obviously, in pass protection. So, I think Ben Johnson's coaching is definitely helping out our offensive line as well.
Yeah, we got OG Allen has stepped up in the building. Welcome to the show, Allen. Probably turn his camera on to get a second. I got Rashad from the Windy City Productions here. He's one of the first guests to come up here tonight right now. OG, how you feeling, man? I feel like we got the Avengers in here right now. Swifty's on his way. You pulled up. Rashad is in here, man. This is going to be a great episode. I'm just waiting for the other guys to get in here. For Allen to be back, man. It's just that, what's been your thoughts on the draft? And you got the free agency coming. What's been your thoughts just on the particular part of the draft? Like, we got the 25th pick, we got the 57th pick, we got the 60th pick. So with that being said, right there, who you taking, Rashad? Rashad, what you got? What you doing with those 3 picks?
Yeah, number 25, I'm probably going defensive tackle. Depends on who's there, but if Caden McDonald is there, who's the other guy from Clemson? Blanking on his name right now, but like the Clemson defensive tackle, like there's a couple defensive tackles that I love in that area where, I think that's probably the sweet spot to get a defensive tackle, to get a defensive end potentially too. TJ Parker's there. Zion Young could be there. So, in terms of pass rush, I'd probably go for that in round 1 because that's the biggest need for the Bears. And that's honestly the sweet spot, I feel like, for pass rushers, defensive tackles, end of round 1, early round 2. So that's probably where I'd go for the first pick. And then round 2, round 3, I'd probably go more for the safeties. We could use Peter Woods. That's his name. Thanks, Swift. But yeah, Peter Woods would be a good option, number 25. But in the second round, there's a couple safeties, Kamari Ramsey, a couple other guys I like in that range. And you could even go for a pass rusher there. You could go for offensive line help there. A center is a need now, potentially, if you want to draft a guy to develop the future. That could be one position you go for in rounds 2 and round 3. And yeah, for the later rounds, I think a lot of it is just going to be depth. So we need a linebacker for sure. With Tremaine Edmonds getting cut, that could be an option that you go for. Edge rushers as well. Receiver too could be an option because you traded DJ Moore. So, you could really go a variety of different ways. I think the Bears like doing the best player available type of approach where they're not going to force a need. So, even though I would personally like defensive tackle, defensive end in round 1, if there's maybe a really good left tackle or a really good, whatever other position that falls to number 25, I think that could still be a possibility for the Bears to select. So just keep your options open. I would say if you're a Bears fan, like just be open to anything because this regime really is prioritizing drafting best player available.
Yeah, I just think it's at a great point to where it's like, I don't think they're overreaching for a player at this point as far as the draft. I don't think they're going to overreach and pay nobody at this point. You don't have to do that. And that was the reason why a lot of people, even though I like DJ Moore, he was good here, man, I thought he might have been overpaid. You know what I mean? Then you come in and you want to get a guy like, what's another name that might be overpaid and people just love him so much here? And it's just like, when your team is starting to ascend and you get guys like Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, Roman Dunze, you don't have to keep a guy like, DJ Moore because your guys are ascending. Everybody that's on that offense has ascended in year 1. Now, Rashad, I can understand if, hey man, Rome, and Luther, they're not really bringing it. Man, we might have to keep DJ Moore another year. We just might have to keep him because the young guys are not coming along as quickly as we thought they would. So, just what's your thoughts on that type of perspective for me? Like, do you think that was somewhat in play? What do you think?
No, I agree. Like the fact that we have young guys that are playing really good on cheap contracts, that's the only reason why you were able to trade DJ Moore. Because, if we didn't have Luther Burden, if we didn't have Colston Loveland, I agree with you. Like, I think DJ Moore would still be here because we need weapons, right? And, the fact that Loveland and Burden turned into 2 of our biggest stars on offense in only the rookie years is a luxury that Ryan Poles was given Well, he earned that luxury, right, by drafting them in the first place. But the fact that he got these players, like, that's why you can trade DJ Moore for a second-round pick. And, you know, I think it's a good trade for the Bears, right, because he was earning $28 million for this season, and obviously he's not going to get all the targets in the world because you have so many options to spread the ball out to. So I think it's the best for both sides to, you know, give DJ Moore the opportunity to go to Buffalo where he can be the #1 option and hopefully still go deep in the playoffs. He still has a fantastic quarterback in Josh Allen. So I honestly think it was a good trade for both sides. I mean, the Bears got a lot out of it. Like, I was not expecting a round 2 pick, especially with that contract and the fact that DJ Moore is coming off a 600-yard season. So I was personally happy with it as a Bears fan, but I'm also kind of sad at the same time because he had a lot of good moments for the Bears last year. You know, the overtime game winner against the Packers, the playoff game winner against the Packers also, you know, so he had some good moments, but definitely wish him best of luck in Buffalo.
Yeah, man, it's definitely cool that he was here, man. I definitely wish him the best in Buffalo, man. But at the same time, I just didn't think he was always the person, the type of wide receiver that you could depend on. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to ask you this question, like, what do you see from Caleb Williams? Because the more I study Caleb Williams, the more I look at Caleb as far as a player that's, you know, ascending in his own greatness. You know what I'm saying? In his own greatness. It's like, I don't think he's as patient as he's going to be going forward as a young guy. Like, when I'm looking at Caleb these days, I'm seeing impatient. I'm seeing leadership. I'm seeing this is my offense. I'm seeing I'm not going to put up with this, because we saw him in a game where he told Luther Burden, do your effing job. So imagine a guy like DJ Moore, who doesn't always run the best routes, who always doesn't necessarily always communicate the best way. So I just think that with that kind of stuff happening, I think it was going to wear out his welcome as far as what they're looking for in offense. Is probably, you know, more surgical precision, you know, accuracy and route runners. You know what I mean? So already we got Colson Loveland, who's a great route runner. We have Luther Burton, who's a great route runner. Rome, they're all great route runners. So it looks like this marriage with DJ Moore and the way Caleb and Ben want to do his offense, it seemed like it was only a matter of time. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if Ben Johnson and Caleb really wanted DJ Moore here, I think he would still be here. Maybe more so Ben Johnson. I mean, I feel like Caleb still liked having DJ Moore as a teammate and as a playmaker on this team. But for Ben Johnson, I think he immediately knew that DJ Moore is not going to be a part of the long-term future because he drafted Luther Burden early in the second round. He also acquired Colson Loveland in the draft too. Like, if he really believed deeply in DJ Moore as a pass catcher, I don't think he would have made those picks in the draft, or like at least told Ryan Poles to make those picks, right? Informed him of that opinion. So yeah, I mean, I think the writing has been on the wall ever since Ben Johnson came here. He probably saw on the tape that, you know, DJ Moore is a player that, even though he is fantastic in certain aspects, you know, he can do a lot for an offense. He really had a replaceable skill set when we got Luther Burden, and Luther Burden is coming on a much cheaper contract. He's more explosive, I would say, at this point in time. And last year, Luther Burden actually like led the NFL in like yards per route run. Or maybe he didn't lead the NFL, but like at least for like a rookie, I think he had like one of the most of all time for yards per route run. So super efficient guy, super productive guy. And he brings you a lot of like what you lost with DJ Moore. Like, he can make guys miss in the open field. He can, you know, be a burner down the field somewhat. He can make guys, you know, juke them out of their shoes. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I think Caleb needs a guy, you know, needs guys that are younger, that, you know, maybe are coming on cheaper contracts, but also guys that he can like really rely on to run these routes, where DJ Moore kind of faltered there sometimes, especially in that Rams game. Yeah.
Hey, we got CJ in the building. CJ, what's up, man? What's going on, C?
What's going on, bro? I'm just getting my stuff situated in the back, trying to get set up and everything.
Well, okay. Yeah, man. I just think the fact that, you know, all things come to an end, man. I mean, you got guys, and it looks like the way that Ben Johnson runs his offense, the way that Caleb is, you know, preparing his offense is, you know, it's all about spreading the ball around. You know what I mean? Like, when you don't have this great of a wide receiver core we had years ago, but maybe just DJ Moore and maybe a Darnell Mooney, it's not the case anymore. You know what I mean? So the fact that we got guys that are all getting targeted, how much money is a wide receiver like DJ Moore really worth? You know what I'm saying? When you're not going to even get his targeted the way you got targeted prior before in Johnson.
Yeah, like if you look at the stats last year, I think we had like 4 players with 500 plus yards or something like that, right? Like Colson Loveland had 600 yards. I think DJ Moore was right there too. Rome had almost the same amount of yards. Luca Burden even creeped up to having 500 plus yards, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, yeah, the fact that you have all these pass catchers that can really, any one of them can take off to be the number one at any point in time. I think that's a luxury that most Bears teams have never had, right? Like usually we've only had one good receiver or sometimes not even one good receiver we've had. So it's really exciting that Ben Johnson has created this offense where so many different guys can be the number one. And it's better for the quarterback too, right? Like where your number one read is not always going to be smothered probably if you have all these different guys to go to, right? So, and I also think that Ben Johnson's the type of coach where he could draft a receiver in round 3, round 4, like a late round guy, and turn that guy into a stud. I mean, he already did that with Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was a round 3 pick that turned into a superstar receiver. So a lot of this just depends on the system, on the quarterback, on the play caller. And the Bears have a really good system, a really good play caller, really good quarterback right now. So, you know, definitely exciting to see where Bears offense goes next year.
So what do you got to say about the people just because DJ Moore? Some people are saying, "How you going to be the number one wide receiver? And you only had 600 yards. You only had 600 yards. Like, do you think that was more so DJ being older or losing a step, or just the way the offense is?"
I think that was the way the offense was, because I still feel like DJ Moore could have been a 1,000-yard guy last year, right? Like he was pretty good in some big stretches. It's just that he didn't get all the targets in the world because we had so many different guys to give the ball to. But for the Buffalo Bills, like they don't have great receivers, right? Like they got Keon Coleman, who, you know, all the drama with him, and not really a lot of other great options. Like most of the receivers are wide receiver 3s or 2s, I would say. So I think DJ Moore is going to be the number one there, and I would not be surprised if he goes off for 1,100, 1,200 yards next year, because, you know, Josh Allen's a good quarterback. They have offensive-minded head coach there now. So yeah, no hate to DJ Moore at all. Like I still think he's a good player, but it didn't make sense for him in Chicago anymore.
Yeah, man, we got Allen in here, man. We got comments coming up, man. We got Sobak saying interior pressure is just as important as having a good edge rusher. Prime example being the Seahawks Foles has to hit in the draft and make some moves for free agency. So yeah, because, you know, we don't want to overspend on money, man, and have to get rid of a guy in 3 years. Everybody know, you know, Foles loves to front load a contract and give you 3 years. He doesn't really give out anything longer than that. You know what I'm saying? DJ Moore got lucky, but only 3-year deals that Foles he's really been given. So interior pressure is just as important as having a good edge rusher, and I think that that's more important. And then we saw that because we couldn't stop the run. Like the run game was ass. We couldn't. So, you know, Alan and CJ, whenever you guys are ready to speak, you know, we got Rashad in here, but Rashad, like, is the interior or the edge more important than you going forward, but especially for this draft?
I'm gonna say the interior of the defensive line is more important to me as far as winning the draft, and the Bears taking care of that in the draft.
Okay, just make sure you guys can make sure you turn your cameras on. We got special guests here, man. And that's what I really want to get into is just the draft, man, because the interior is so bad. We got Billings over there. We got Dio, who's not doing too much. You got Dexter, who's not panning out to be what we thought he would be. You know, he got the body type, and and Allen likes to call him a cover edge, like a safety. He's playing safety on the line. So, how much pressure do you think Ryan Poles is under and Dennis Allen are under, Rashad, to the point to where you got 3 positions to fill, whether it's in the draft or free agents, because we're not getting what we need to be from probably one of the most expensive front lines of football?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big problem for sure. Like if we didn't have such a bad free agency last year in terms of like the Dio contract, Grady Jarrett contract, it'd be a lot easier this year, because then you would more easily be able to afford a Trey Hendrickson if you weren't paying Dio $20 million for this season. And Grady Jarrett has also kind of been somewhat of a bad signing. I mean, I know he's had some good moments, but he's earning way too much money for the production he actually has. So, you know, I agree with the rest of you. Like I think interior defensive line is probably the big place where we got to spend and make a big move. I still think a trade is possible. Like maybe if you trade for a good defensive tackle elsewhere. I'm not sure who's available right now, but in my mock offseason video, I actually had the Bears going after Dexter Lawrence of the Giants. And, you know, again, I'm not sure if he's actually available or not, but if he's available, that's a guy the Bears should definitely try to go after. And you know, you also got other options too, like Jeffrey Simmons from the Titans. You got, I guess Chris Jones from the Chiefs could be an option. Like, he's coming off a somewhat disappointing season, but you know, last year we traded with the Chiefs for Joe Thuney. That worked out big time. So I really want to see Ryan Poles hopefully try to swing a trade for a defensive tackle if that's possible anywhere. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go probably in the NFL draft, because you just don't see a lot of superstars available in free agency. And yeah, the Bears have a really expensive defensive line right now, so it definitely doesn't help things.
Man, well said. We got so back in here. Alan, what's going on, OG? You good?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. I know you're having technical difficulties right now, man. So we're just gonna go ahead and rock with you on in the background. So we got Rashad in here, man. We talking about free agency. We talking about draft and the interior edge, safety, DJ Moore and all this other stuff. So just what's been your thoughts about going into the free agency, man? Like, how do you think the philosophy of the Chicago Bears is? Are we going to be aggressive? Are we going to be conservative? What's your thoughts? Because Max Crosby's off the board, man. He's gone. So how do you feeling about the Trey Henderson? Because I know you've been saying you wanted to get Trey too. So do you still think you still want to get Trey Henderson?
Yeah, if it was up to me and it was my money, I would go after Trey Henderson. I just feel like he's a good compliment for Montez Sweat. The age is a little bit of a concern, but he can play the left side, where Max Crosby is a right end along with Sweat. So then we'll be asking Sweat to be a left end when he's probably a middle of the pack right end. I felt like we were gonna have two of the same, but of course Max Crosby is a bookend. But I feel like Trey Henderson is a more stylistic player for what we are trying to do. And then his relationship with Dennis Allen, going back to his rookie year, I feel like Trey Henderson would fit right in like a glove, man. It's just a matter of getting the numbers right. But I heard that Tyler Decker is going to probably come to the Bears. They said Ben Johnson might be into that. So I just don't know if we got enough money to go around to get big game hunting. I think we just have to, just follow up with the guys that we can afford, unfortunately, man, and build to the draft. And typically playoff teams do that. So, we can't go out and be free agent hunters like that once we start making the playoffs on a consistent basis.
Rashad, do you feel the same way as like we're a playoff team now? We don't really have to go out there and be super, super duper aggressive because of the quarter we got. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I like to see the Bears maybe try to go after one of those guys, like the big ticket guys. But, like you mentioned, like, I guess we don't have like a lot of money, right? Like, we don't have money to really pay a lot of players, and we need a lot of players to sign, right? Like, we need a safety, we need probably a linebacker, we could use left tackle. So there's a lot of positions we need, but not a whole lot of money left this offseason because we're it's just like we're spending a lot of money on different positions, right? So ideally, if you want to be good for the long term, you got to draft well. And that's like what we talked about earlier, right? Like, if the Bears really want to turn this into a dynasty or like a really good team long term to win a Super Bowl, you got to draft well. You got to hit on your number 25 pick. You got to hit on your second round picks, your third round pick, and you just got to draft well. I mean, that's the only way to really sustainably have a good team. And we'll see what the Bears do in free agency. Like, I'm still hoping we can get some steals, like with some of the the cheaper guys that you get extra value out of, like we've had in the past. You just hope you can get some of those players, and hopefully with the good coaching, that can be a way in which you can turn, cheaper players into a lot better production.
CJ, you've been sitting back in the background for a second, man, and when Rashad's been up here cooking, as he's going to do when he get up here. So, CJ, anything you want to chime in about, man, before we continue on? Like, anything about the free agency, about us being conservative or being aggressive, or, certain guys you want to get? Like, what's going on? Your mic, C, you muted.
My biggest thing, G, is the interior of the defensive line. The Bears got to really, get some guys that can get in there and be productive and help that defense out. That's my biggest thing that the Bears got to do in free agency or in the draft. Address that. They really got to address that. I know some people may think that the offensive line, the left tackle, may be more important, but I think that defense got, their defensive line got to get stabilized as far as getting guys that can be productive, as far as the interior of the defense.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments, man. We got Soback Boy said Jeffrey Simmons, I think, is working out a deal with the Titans. Then we got Soap Aaron says, I think the only edge I was completely okay with giving two first round picks was Myles Garrett. Pick 25 isn't great. I think this could be an opportunity for Poles to do something he has never really done and trade up. I mean, we can get into that, man. We can get into the X-Men of the NFL. Myles Garrett, he's a one-on-one. He Euro steps on defense, man. He's a freak of nature, man. He's a defensive juggernaut. He's a franchise-altering player that is the ultimate blue chip. You know what I mean, Rashad? So this right here, man, like I'm not really with this. I think there's no player to me. They're gonna want more than 2 first-round picks for him. Let's just get that out of the way. It's gonna be way more.
Probably.
So do you think this is something that Poles will do? You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna ask Alan the same thing. Would you pull the trigger on a trade like this?
Yeah, I mean, if it's only 2 first-round picks, I would definitely do it, like without a second thought at all. But I think it's most likely going to be 3 first-round picks, maybe even more. So I don't know. Like Myles Garrett is like the best defensive player in the NFL, maybe the best of all time. Like he's definitely top 3 all time, top 2 all time, right? So if you have a chance to get him, I would get him without even thinking about it. But I just don't think it's very realistic. Like it'd be nice to have him, but his contract is also kind of untradeable this year for the Browns. Like I saw if the Browns trade him this year, they have to go with like a 20 million, or I think much more than that. I think it might be like a $50 million dead cap hit for this season, which they're probably not going to do that, right? So would be nice, but probably won't happen.
OG, what's your thoughts? Because you've been saying if there's anybody I'm giving up the farm for, I'm giving the house for, it's Myles, man. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a deep cover operation, man. Yay. If that's my money, I'm gonna give up what's needed to get Myles Garrett. He's the best player and best defensive player in football. So that's a top secret move. I would definitely go get that. Y'all wouldn't even know how happy I would be to get that guy, man. He will set us in motion for the next couple of years, and our championship window will open immediately.
Right. I mean, Myles Garrett, man, is a dream that I'll have to believe it till it happens, man. Like Rashad said, it's too much money. Trade him. I mean, you have to give up a 27 first round pick in 26, 28, 29. You have to give up my daughter. She'll be a first round pick in a couple of years. Like, you got to give up damn near everything to get Myles Garrett, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead. So I don't think it's a pipe dream. And we got Sean 82 saying, shout out to Sean 82, man. He's been coming in here a lot, man. Tonight, bringing the chat, bringing the comments. Vikings defense, police defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen. We should look at him. What do you think about that, man? Bernard and all those guys are getting released. What's your thoughts on that? Would you get him?
He had a pretty bad season last year. I think in terms of like run defense, he's also not that good. So I think the Bears probably would not go after him. I mean, it could be possible, right? Like he's a guy that has played in a 4-3 before, so it does make sense from a scheme point of view. But I think with the Vikings, like it kind of be similar to the Grady Jarrett move that we made last year, which kind of flopped on us. So I don't know. Like personally, I think I wouldn't do it, but maybe Ryan Poles sees something in him. Maybe if Dennis Allen thinks he can get him back to playing good ball, could be a possibility, right? Like we don't have a whole lot of options at defensive tackle and free agency, so maybe you can't be too picky.
So do you have any type of like instinct, gut feeling of what they're going to start doing tomorrow? Anything Lincoln Monday, like you got anything you're betting on, like a person we might get? You know what I mean? You got any vibes for that?
Yeah, like I think Taylor Decker is going to be announced within like 5 minutes, hopefully a free agency, because it just makes too much sense, right? Like you already played for Ben Johnson. Bears have a big left tackle need right now. I think they're already talking about that right now, even though they're not technically allowed to talk about contracts. You guys know what happens, right? Like people agree to contracts within 5 minutes of free agency starting.
Right.
So obviously they're tampering right now. They're talking about that stuff. So I think that's a guy that's going to be announced pretty soon. If the Bears are actually in on Trey Hendrickson, I think that would also be relatively soon because, you know, he's like the domino free agency. Like when he goes, then a lot of other moves are going to happen after that because I'm sure some teams are saving up their money to spend on Trey Hendrickson. So if he goes wherever he goes, like then other teams will start spending their money. So those are probably the two biggest guys I can think of. But aside from that, I just think it's going to be a lot of, you know, maybe mid-tier signings, like, you know, whoever we can get at safety. Hopefully Kevin Byard comes back. That would be a nice guy to bring back. Hopefully a pass rusher somewhere, but it's kind of hard to say, right? Because this year's free agency is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. And we're a playoff team, right, Alan? So it's like we don't want to reach. So as much as people want free agency, this is not what we need to be looking at. We need to be looking at the draft. We need to be looking at that draft because Edwards broke his leg. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
No time soon. You got Tremaine Edmonds who got released. He couldn't even find a trade partner. You know what I mean? You got safety position here that you're not even sure who you want to bring back. Brisker, CJ Gardner, you know, Bayard's not even signed yet. Then you got and you still got the defensive tackle position. So it's like this draft right here, it should be the more focus for us. If I'm a fan, if you're a fan of Chicago Bears, you got to look at this free agency right here and be like, it's not nothing that we need to be jumping out of the window to get because there's so many things going on in the draft that we're lacking resources on. It'll make your head spin on the defensive side of the ball. Like we have like maybe six blue chippers on offense. You got Caleb, that's one. You got Rome, healthy, that's two. You got Colston Loveland, that's three. You got Luther Burden, that's four. You got Darnell Wright, that's five. And if you want to put, you know, Kyle Monangai in that, you can. It's six. As a 7th-round pick that completely changed the run game for the Chicago Bears. We have six basically blue chippers on offense, Rashad. We don't have no blue chippers on defense. None. And we could go to the draft, even though we got the first, the 25th pick, 2 second-round picks, and we get our 3rd-round pick from the conference from Atlanta. We can really do something special. You know what I'm saying? We really got to get some blue chips on this side of the defensive side of the ball, because if we don't, we could be looking at a team that's going to be great on offense. We have to put up 40 points every single game while another team puts up 39 points on you. So I don't think going into this offseason, the free agency, I don't think the free agency is more important than the draft.
I agree. Like, it's crazy to say that the Bears right now have a better offense, and like, you know, we're trying to find a way to build a good defense, because like my whole life it's been the opposite. The Bears have had really good defensive players, really elite defense, but we just can't figure the offensive side of the football out. So just kind of weird to see the opposite happening now. But yeah, like drafting is the only way to do it. Like you got to find studs in these later rounds too. I mean, I feel like Ryan Poles has not really been that good in the later rounds. I mean, he's had a couple hits, like, you know, Kyle Monangai. I would say Braxton Jones was still a hit for being a 5th-round pick. Like, at least you got some good level play out of him for a couple of years. But yeah, like, right. And you know, Austin Booker is another guy too, like in round 4, that has some potential. But you haven't seen like a whole lot of hits. Like, I kind of feel like under Ryan Pace, we probably had more of the late round hits compared to Ryan Poles so far. But you know, Ryan Poles is obviously much better in early rounds and like basically everything else. So you know, I just hope we can find like some type of steal this year on day 2, day 3, whether that be a safety, defensive tackle, defensive lineman. You're not going to get a blue chip prospect most likely, but hopefully you can turn that player into a blue chip type of player with good coaching.
Yeah, and then we got comments out to the chat. They said, don't forget the Bears got to get another 3rd-round pick from NFL because of Ian Cunningham. And I'm going to go with this one, Alan, if you can hear me. We got Cream Sleeve in the building, man. He says, how do you guys feel about Bradbury? And I'm going to go with Allen on this one. And Allen, you can turn your camera off if you want to, man, if it's messing up, man. It's not a big deal.
Bradbury is one of those guys. He's okay.
Yeah, just play so we can hear you. It's all right.
All right. Okay, yeah. I don't have a problem with Bradbury. Bradbury's a veteran, you know, so he played well with Drake May. He didn't give up any sacks. But you know, I want to tell y'all, some center when you're doing the grades on them, a lot of times the center has to cover 2 A gaps. So a lot of times the sacks are going to kind of be skewed. That doesn't mean that he blocked 80% of the time. A lot of time with a center, he's covering both A gaps. So it's not like he's going one-on-one blocking a lot of time. So let's don't skew that 0 sacks. Your guards and your tackles are more and more one-on-one blocking in those type of schemes, especially zone blocking. So with that being said, Bradbury is a complimentary piece, but I don't think Ryan should sit on that. I think we should still go to the draft and focus on getting a center. Not in the top 4 rounds, but try to pick a guy up about the 5th or the 6th, just to bring up a competition with him and Newman. I really like Newman out of Michigan State. I would love to find a way to put him in the starting 5 somewhere. He is a brute, and he's very athletic for an offensive line with 35-inch vertical. That is awesome for an offensive line. So that gives me reason to say he's very explosive when he gets his hands on you. So I don't think Newman should be out of this conversation of getting in that center competition. But Bradbury is a good complimentary piece. He's a good stopgap. Veterans. He played with Tooney for a stint. So I'm gonna say that's a quality pickup by Ryan.
Well said, OG. And we got this one for you, CJ. It says, I wouldn't trade up. We probably have a strong staff. We can do some player development. I think we don't need to draft the best player. I think we need to draft the best player available at our team cook like they have been. We have too many needs. CJ, do you agree with this statement right here?
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. That's what the Bears, I think, are going to do this year, at least a draft the best player available. You know, we've been seeing the Bears been drafting players by need for the last several years. I think they got a good enough team. I think they'll have if they do it right this time, I think they'll have a good enough team to start getting players, the best players available. So that means you get the best running back available. That means getting the best, if you can get another wide receiver, you know, maybe somebody that can take DJ's spot if Luther Burton has not done that already. You know, get players, you know, the best players available. Whether that be an offensive lineman. The Bears got opportunity to do that, I believe.
Yeah, so when we say best player available, we have to think about the best player available for the most position that we need. So we just can't say, to me, you know, with that little context, we can't say best player available when we know we don't have a great defensive tackle. When we know we don't have a great safety, you know what I mean? And we don't have a great linebacker. So, you know,
Right.
Best player available is cool, but at what position, Rashad, would you draft best player available? Like, what are we doing with that if it's up to you?
Yeah, I mean, probably defensive tackle, defensive end, maybe left tackle. Like, with left tackle, I'm kind of back and forth because I'm still a big fan of Ozzy. And, like, I really hope we could have Ozzy come back next season, come back fully healthy. But at the same time, if you think that Ozzy is not going to come back like he was before, then you probably have to draft a left tackle. And if, like, a really good one falls to number 25, I could definitely see the Bears investing in that position because, you know, you also heard Dan Ruchar and Ben Johnson talk about the offensive line, especially Dan Ruchar. Like, he doesn't seem convinced that the answer at left tackle is on the roster right now.
Right,
Like,
I remember. Yeah, I saw that.
He's always super, like, critical about, you know, the offensive lineman on the team, which I love. Like, the fact that he wants to get better every single year. So I definitely think that could be a possibility at 25, which some Bears fans probably would not be the happiest with because they would kind of think, oh, why are we not going defense? You know, we already have a left tackle. Well, sometimes you just got to go best player available, and it's possible that could be a left tackle. So just don't rule that out, I would say.
No, you cooking, bro, because that's something I said before this even started. Like, as soon as I heard Trapillo got hurt, I was like, yo, this changes my whole mind according to the draft. Like,
Yeah.
Ozzy's done. I was just like, yeah, let's get a D tackle 25. But I'm like, we got to make sure our quarterback is standing up right for the next how many years he's going to be in his prime or whatever the case may be. So, you know, I'm thinking, man, Rashad, you on the same wavelength as me. I'm thinking if a left tackle is there, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm trying to set myself up to, like, not be surprised because a lot of people thinking we didn't think we was going to get the guy from the Patriots, and we did. We didn't know if we were going to get Tyler Warren or or Coastal Loving, but we got Coastal Loving. So it's like Ben might pivot, man. If Ben is really in control of this roster, and Ben is the $15 million a year coach, Alan, he might pick a left tackle at 25 and just go with what he want to do. Alan, what you think of that?
Yeah, I think Ben wants that bet. I think Ben, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Ben's gonna look more on the veteran side for a left tackle. I think that's more conceivable than us drafting one right now. I think he wants a guy that he can go put in there that's gonna be quality. Somebody knows the offense, kind of a quick study, to say the least. So I think we're gonna go veteran in that group. I would love to have Trent Williams, but I know he's gonna cost a little bit. But we're gonna definitely go by what Ben thinks, and I think Tyler Decker's a real possibility to sign pretty early in free agency.
Yeah. We've been going on for about an hour, man. CJ, you got any questions for Rashad, or Rashad, you got any questions for the panel, man? Because we were waiting on Swifty, but I don't know if my dog gonna pull up tonight, man.
Yeah. Who do you guys think is gonna be like, I guess, the biggest signing of free agency? Like who do you think like will invest the most money into? Like, do you have any specific players that you're hoping get signed tomorrow?
Like I was saying, I don't think Ryan Poles is gonna sign a guy with a big name to a lot of money. I think he's gonna spend less as possible. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna go after anybody big, man. I just think that we can't run away from what we need, man. We can't run away from the draft. Ryan Poles has tried his best, bro, to not hit a draft. He tried to bring in, Trace Claypool, messed that up. He tried to bring in a Daniel Obango, and he didn't do shit on the team, messed that up. Grady Jarrett is looking like an old man, messed that up. It's like, how many more mess ups are you going to get in free agency before you realize you're going to have to cook a draft, bro? You know what I mean? You're going to have to cook a draft. Like, yeah, Darnell Wright, he got that right. I think Caleb Williams kind of failed to him. He got lucky. He made a great deal. Then the Texans gave us the number 1 overall pick again. But this is a draft to where you're like, hey, man, this is to me where the road splits for Ryan Poles, man. It literally splits. Like, if he comes out here and he cooks this draft, he's going to look like he's going to be a legend, bro. He is going to turn into a legend. And me personally, man, that's what I'm looking forward to. But if Ryan Poles come out here in this draft and he does not put it all together, bro, this he's going to be labeled as a guy, I think, that didn't put it all together. Not saying he was bad, but when your Super Bowl window was beginning to creak open, you got 6 blue chippers on offense, and you have the opportunity to flip your defense the same way, and he doesn't do it, he's going to get labeled as a guy that didn't put it all together, man. But we got my guy Josh from Swifty Sports Network in the building right now, man. My brother pulled up to the show. We can keep good, man. We got the Avengers in here tonight, man. Swifty, man, we got Rashad in here. We got you in here right now, bro. Just tell the people who you are and where they can find you, big dog.
Yo, what's up, man? Hey, DWC, my guy, what's good?
What's up, man?
You know how it is, man. I got caught up. I was editing a video. Didn't realize I was this late. I heard him say, Swifty might not gonna come, and I was like, I got to get up in there. What's up, guys? Swift Sports.
What's going on?
Good to talk to everybody, man. It's an exciting time to be a Bears fan. We got our quarterback. We got our coach. I'm just pumped up, man.
So we've all been here cooking, man. You the latest chef, but better late than never. This is where we're gonna get the best season right here, everybody. This is one of my guys right here. So Josh, man, tomorrow is a day where we can start legally tampering, man. Where we can knock on some doors a little bit and communicate, man. Just what's your thoughts on tomorrow and free agency going forward, man? Like, what are your expectations of anything going tomorrow? Anything?
I honestly was expecting us to be a little bit more aggressive. Obviously, we got Jeremy Fowler right now reporting that we might not be that aggressive, but he also reported that we were one of the front runners for Max Crosby. So you got to take those things with a grain of salt. But we haven't. The reason I don't right now, I'm questioning how aggressive we're going to be is we haven't restructured the contracts to get a ton of cap space like I thought we would. We have a lot of flexibility right now. We can restructure JJ, we can restructure Montez Sweat, Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson. You can create another $30 million in cap space. We haven't done that. So to me, we might be playing for values in free agency, but I do think it's a good year for that, especially where our needs are. There's a lot of safeties in this free agent class. There's a ton of edge rushers. Usually, edge rushers is a position you can't really get in free agency because it's hard to find quality edge rushers in free agency. But the draft the last couple of years has changed that a little bit, where there's been some really quality draft class at edge, and that's allowed some of these teams to let guys go in free agency. And this year, when you're looking at free agent edges, and you could name guys all day, you're talking about guys that just a couple years ago were going for first-round picks: Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Trey Hendrickson. That's just like the top three, but you go about 15 to 20 deep, and you're talking about guys like Clavon Chason, Arden Key, Cameron Jordan, who spent his whole career with Dennis Allen. There's a lot of talent at edge rusher this year. So I think even if we don't get one of the top guys, we can still come away with someone who's going to help this defensive line out. And the good news is we got extra draft capital to take advantage of a really, really solid draft class at defensive end and defensive tackle as well.
Yeah, so
our needs, man. Also safety too.
Yeah. Safety. So tomorrow, man, like Taylor Decker looks like a layup, man. I said that to you on Taylor. Like, this really might be a layup. Like, we get a guy like Brad Berry, we get a Tyler Decker that knows Ben. Like, how confident are you that that could actually happen soon? What do you think about that?
Man, I don't want to get my hopes up too bad, but I think he's like a perfect fit here. His familiarity with Ben Johnson, he's played with Jonah Jackson, and his age doesn't matter to us, right? A lot of times you'd be like, we don't want to sign a 33-year-old left tackle, but we only need a guy for half a season to 1 year. Now, obviously, if you sign Decker, you're going to have him be your starter for the whole year, and then if he gets hurt or has shoulder injuries, hopefully Theo could step in or Ozzy will be back by then. But that's another thing. He had chronic shoulder problems that might scare some other teams off. I think for us, that doesn't scare us off. Even if he has to miss some time, we have Theo Benedict in the building, but he's a solid veteran. And I think people forget that when it comes to players in the NFL, the one thing that they look for besides money when it comes to free agency is playing with coaches they know. And a lot of people be like, I'm tired of hearing about people who are connected to Dennis Allen or Ben Johnson. Look, it's a real thing. Because if you go to a scheme that you've never played in, you got to learn how to play in that scheme and figure out if you fit. When you're a guy like Cameron Jordan and you played your whole career, you'd be like, man, I know what I'm getting if I go to Dennis Allen. I know he's going to know how to use me, and I know that I fit into his scheme. I don't have to learn a whole new defense. I know how to play in it. Hopefully, that's a factor with Taylor Decker, because I would just love to have him on this team, man.
So, Alan, I heard you back there, Alan. We got Celeste saying this music go hard. Not gonna lie, thank you. I try my best. We got Audrey Scott saying, "Hey, CNG podcast." So, Alan, can you expound on that prospect of relationships matter, man? You know, that matters. So, what's your thoughts on that? A coach and a player relationship.
Man, that's big time, man. When you got a comfortable setting to work, do your job. That's in any walk of life, man. If you have past relationship with somebody, man, and they already know what you're good at, you're weak at, those are things that you don't have to worry about. You just have to worry about focusing on your craft. So that's what I believe in with coaching relationships with players, man. Like, Decker or Hendrickson with Allen, I would even say Alontae Taylor. I think that's a guy I would love for the Bears to go after. But those guys have relationships with Dennis. So if you know what to do with a player and put them in positions to win, that's a slam dunk as far as like the compatible abilities for the staff and the player. It's not like I got to learn this guy, I got to learn the scheme. And learning the scheme can take a while, man, because if you're in a 3-4 and 4-3, those are night and day formulas. like for as a player. So when a coach can hammer those logistical issues down, man, you gotta take that for what it is, man. Like players are gonna do better with coaches that they're familiar with going forward.
Yeah, man. You know, that's just well said, man. I just think this free agency is not more important than the draft. And I say it again, I just think this draft is the one. You know, man. Me and Swifty have been talking about it here and often. You know, and he's starting to come around to my point. Like, you know, I'm a little early on it, but I'm like, just from the perspective, man. Like, look what we got on offense. Ron, Caleb. You know what I'm saying? And Luther and all these guys is like, bro, this draft right here can really crack it open for us, man. We get some good, really, really good players in the draft. So Swifty, have you bought all the way in? If this is the draft, the most important one?
And look, if he didn't hit on Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, we wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? And if he didn't hire Ben Johnson last offseason and hit on all those rookies, we would have never made the playoffs and have these kind of expectations. So I think you gotta have those off seasons first before you get to this one. I think the year he drafted Caleb Williams is probably the most important off season in Bears history. And then being able to follow that up by landing Ben Johnson, those are the things that change this franchise's trajectory. But now it is extremely important to build on what we did last season. Now it's DWC mentioned it earlier. Once you're not picking in the top 10 anymore, it's harder. You got to put in work because he has had some misses in the second round and the third round. Last year's draft was incredible, but you want to come back and do something similar. You can't say I want him to do exactly what he did for the offense and do it on the defense. That we don't have the same draft capital, but we did get an extra second round pick. It is a very talented draft class at D tackle and edge. So he has an opportunity here. Go out and improve the defense and try to do something similar to what you did on that offense last year. Get a safety, get a linebacker, get an edge, get a defensive tackle, spin these picks the right way, and this defense is going to look a lot different. They'll be faster in the front seven and a lot better. If you get Montez Sweat and guys like Devon Dexter a little bit more help, they're going to be a lot better.
What's up, Devine? And look, we've been going about an hour and 7 minutes, man. We're going to end up finishing this up, man. We've been going a while. But we appreciate everybody pulled up. We got Rashad in here. You know, we're going to get his final thoughts. We all going to give our final thoughts, man. We're going to get up out of here. Rashad, what you got, man?
Nah, thanks for having me, man. It was always a fun time coming on. But yeah, I mean, just like we were mentioning, like, I think the draft is where this team is really going to be built. Hopefully the Bears acquire a couple good players in free agency, but it's probably not going to be anything too major besides Taylor Decker. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting time to be a Bears fan. You know, I really trust Ryan Poles. I really trust Ben Johnson right now and everything they've been doing. So for the first time in a while, like whatever the Bears do, I feel like I'll have a lot of faith in it because they've given me a reason to believe.
Man, well said, man. Well said. Then we're going to go to my guy, Swifty, man. Swifty, man, what's your final thoughts on anything going in tomorrow, man? Free agency, what you got?
Man, just try. We know how Bears fans are, man. They're going to overreact. They're already overreacting. We already got people out there saying it's a failed off season because we didn't get Max Crosby or because we traded for Garrett Bradbury. I mean, I say keep your expectations in check. Trust the process here. If we make a move on offense, especially trust Ben Johnson, that Ben Johnson knows more about who's going to fit in his offense than all these random dudes on Twitter do.
Right.
You got to have some faith in these guys. I think they've earned that. The rebuild was slow. It took a long time. 5-year rebuilds aren't easy, and Bears fans already aren't patient. But we've gotten to the point now that they've proven these coaches can develop players. At least Ben Johnson can. We're not 100% sure on Dennis Allen, but he's
right.
a long time in the NFL. He's had a lot of success. He's not Matt Eberflus, you know. So we got a guy who at least knows what he's looking for. And last year, he didn't have a lot of help. You got to realize we didn't draft anybody on defense really except Shamar Turner. And the two guys we signed, Grady Jarrett and Dio, they both got hurt. Austin Booker missed half the year. Jalen Johnson wasn't even close to himself. Kyler Gordon played 2 games. That defense was destroyed by injuries, and they still came up big when it mattered most. So let's now reinfuse that defense with talent. Let Dennis Allen get some guys in here that fits his system, and give these guys a little bit of patience. I think we're heading in the right direction. This is a team that, as long as we have Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, Our Super Bowl window is open. So let's just be excited about that. These aren't the same old Bears anymore. So we don't have to continue acting like they are. This is really a new era of Bears football now.
Man, well said by Swifty, man. Well said. We're going to end it with the CNG podcast with our final thoughts, man. I'm going to go with CJ first. CJ, what's your final thoughts on the free agency, anything draft before we get out of here, man?
I mean, just to see what this Bears team is gonna do and who they're gonna get. I mean, this is the most exciting time in off season. You know, it's my favorite time in off season to see what players, as far as what the Bears are gonna do and who they're gonna get, and definitely we want to see the defense improve. You know, if the Bears come out tomorrow and start getting defensive players, I mean that's good right there. I mean, you got Trey Henderson and Henderson, excuse me, that's a free agent. So, you know, if the Bears go after him, that's cool too. You know, but I really want to see the Bears really go after that interior defensive line. I think if they address that would be good. The offensive line, I'm not too really worried about. I know Tyler Decker's name has been thrown around out there. Is a guy that the Bears can get. So if the Bears get him, I'm not really concerned. You know, I trust the process. I trust Ben Johnson's going to probably steer Ryan Poles in the right direction, and Dennis Allen can steer Ryan Poles in the right direction and making the right pick. So I have no fear at all in this Bears team.
Man, well said, man. Allen, what you got for us, OG? I'm going to end it last. I'm going to go last. I'm going to keep it quick, though.
Look at Ryan Poles, he giving me Franklin vibes and Snowfall, man. I built this shit brick by brick, man. So he's got that ability, man, to say we're gonna be all right, man. I just feel like we gotta stay close to what we are, man. We can't get too far to the left, too far to the right. Stay centered on what we are doing. Find what we want and go after. You know, we're not. It's a lot of information that's not getting out with our life. I like the shouldn't. You know, just have us guessing. But I want us to attack the things that we get, and don't double down on stuff that we already have. That's been some of the issue. But if we can stay away from those type of things, we'll be all right.
Yeah, and well said by the OG, man. And my thoughts on this whole situation is going into tomorrow is basically what I agree with everybody's been saying. You know, we're in a position to where this team has not looked like this. We haven't picked in the top 10, you know what I mean, in a very long time. We're picking with the 25th pick. That means we're a good team. You know, the higher up the pick you get in the draft, the better your team is. So the fact that we can go into free agency tomorrow and get serviceable people on this team, I'm cool with that. Like if we miss out on a Max Crosby, we miss out on a Trey Henderson, I got faith in Brian Poles and Dennis Allen. They'll get somebody serviceable and build in the draft. So I'm really not concerned about tomorrow, man. I just think we did a lot. You know, Poles did a lot this offseason, this last season with getting Caleb, with getting Ben, you know, Ben building the offense, getting the guys that we got on offense. And, you know, Dennis Allen was pretty good. You know, with the bend don't break defense, Deshaun Wright came out of nowhere. CJ Gardner played good for us for a little while. You know what I'm saying? It was things that this season that let you know that if we can get the right people in place, things can get better very quickly. So now we got a whole offseason, and we know what Dennis Allen really wants. You know, it's going to be okay. We still got Zay Frazier coming back. We still got Terrell Smith coming back. We still got all these picks coming in. So tomorrow I'm expecting a very lukewarm free agency. Like anything outside of Lindenbaum, as far as a big name, nothing else is going to shock me in who they get. I don't think we're going to go after nobody big, man. We end up getting Trey Henderson. I'm cool with that, but you got to smoke the draft. Like he's an older guy. He's going to come in right away and help your team win, and that's what you want for a playoff team.
Yeah.
First time, he's going to come right in and help. So, but we just cannot misstep on the draft. We just cannot misstep. So I'm cool with whatever they do tomorrow, man. So with that being said, man, Rashad got up out of here. So, you know, it's been a CNG podcast with Swifty, you know, Rashad from DaWindycityProdictions, CJ, Allen, man. With that being said, we had a lot of people coming in here tonight, man. So let me shout out to the chat. What up, Big Cam? Been a long time since I heard from you, nephew. We had over 600 people pull up to the show tonight, man. So shout out to all the people that pulled up to the show. Being Dobbs, Celeste pulled up. What up, sis? Audrey, of course. It's B Sad pulled up, man. There's a lot of people. Sean 82, Cream Sleeve, Craig, what's up? Soulback Sports, man. We had Swifty in the chat for a while. Who else did I miss, man? It's just been a great night, man, on this free agency podcast, man. Twitter showing us love, Extra showing us love. So, you know, CJ, we got Craig, man. So with that being said, man, I'm G Walker. That's Swifty from Swifty Sports Network. That's Alan. That's CJ, man. We out of here, man. We'll see you guys when we see you. God bless you. Peace. Have fun. One love.
Bear down.
Bear down.